Good day everyone. Welcome to Ctrl+Alt+Teach channel. Let's hit Ctrl, Alt and delete our doubts as we dive into coding. In today's video, we are starting our Python series where we will spend less on the theory side and on the practical side. So in today's session or the first video, I'll just show you how to set up Python, where we will be focusing on two tools that I like. The first one is Visual Studio or VS Code, and the second one is Jupyter Notebook. So we'll just learn today on how to get started with either one of them and why they are perfect for different types of Python development. Okay, so let's just start with a little bit background on the Python so that we understand what we're learning and why do we need to learn it. So Python, it is a powerful language. It is flexible. Most of the time it is used in web development. Today we see it more into the artificial intelligence side of things. So whether you're taking this course or you're watching this course to learn how to build web development, you want to build apps, or you just want to use it to analyze data, it is a perfect language for you to learn. Or maybe you want to be a data analyst or a data science, this is the best lesson or programming language that you can learn. So we will use Visual Studio from Microsoft for coding, and then we will also use Notebook, Jupyter for more the interactive work, like when you want to test a code that is in chunks and you want to present your results. So with that one said or out of the line, the first thing that we need to do is how do we install the tools, or how do we get started with this lesson. So the very first thing that I want us to do is to open your favorite browser, and we're going to visit a website for Python. I will put it on the description box as well, so you can just type Python on your web browser, and then you want the link that says python.org. You can just go to the download section. So what we want to do now is to make sure that our machines are running the latest Python, preferably from 3 version 3 going upwards. It is okay. So, but before we do that, I want you to click your start, because most of the time our machine comes with Python installed. So we just need to check if we have one in our machine. So just hit your Windows start and type cmd and then open. So we want to check if we have Python installed in our machine. In order to do that, we are going to check the version of our Python that is installed. So if it tells us that we have any version in our machine, then we know we have Python on our machine. So you can just type Python space dash dash version and then hit enter. So you can see in the meantime on my side I'm running 3.12.5, which is perfect. But if you don't have any, you can just download your Python and follow the easy steps to install it. So that is the very first thing that we need to do, because we are going to use Python in order to develop some of our apps. So okay, that is fine. So now let's just set up our Visual Studio, and then we will also install Notebook a little bit later on. For today, I just want us to start with Visual Studio, and then we check what extensions are we going to use for this session. Okay, just a little bit of recap. Remember that Visual Studio, a lot of people prefer it to use it to code. I also prefer it as well, but people also love Jupyter Notebook. It is what is being used in industry, mainly for just experimenting, and then also if you want to showcase some small pieces of code in a more visual manner, then you can go ahead and do that. So for Jupyter Notebook, what I'm going to do, I want us to install Anaconda. It give us a whole lot of tools there that we can use with for our coding. In case if you want to experiment more with other tools that you can use with Python, you can also get them with Python. So with that one being said, let's go to our favorite browser, and then we can just say download Anaconda. So you can take the first one or this one, it doesn't matter. You can just hit install. And then you can go to the free download, and then you can skip the registration. Then you are going to choose which one do you prefer. For me, I have a Windows, so if you have a Mac, you can just install the one that you want. So I have Windows, or just install this one. So you can just hit download. I will stop it because I've already downloaded this file, and then that's the first one. So the second one, we downloaded Python, and then now we downloaded Anaconda. The last one, you will say download Visual Studio Code. All of these tools, they are free. We don't have to pay for this series, so you can just click Windows if you're using a Windows machine. I'm using a Windows machine, that's why I'm downloading it. So again, I do have it, so I'll just stop. So you can go to your downloads, and then let's start with Visual Studio. You just have to double click it and then accept. You click next, and then next, and then next, then you click install. Going to give it a little bit of time in order for it to install. Okay, right, I'll just minimize this, and then we do the same. We'll install Anaconda. You just hit next, and then you're going to accept. If you have people who are using your machine, you can just say all users, or just leave this one. And then you need a little bit of space because it needs 5 gigabytes, so make sure that you have enough space. But if you don't, that's okay. Visual Studio will do the same thing as well. You can click next, then you can click next. Okay, then install. Okay, while it's doing that, let's just go through our Visual Studio. And then for now, you can choose the theme of your choice. I prefer the dark theme. and then you can just select it if you want. If you don't like them, then you can just change to the one that you like, and then that's it. So welcome to your Visual Studio Code. This will be our integrated development environment, or an IDE. This is where we're going to write our code. I would like to believe that I'm assuming that you have a little bit background of programming. You just want to learn Python, but even if you don't have experience with programming, you should be fine to follow along with this series. So I'm not going to talk much about what we have there. We'll do this as we go, but we're going to use our file tab. This is where we're going to use it in order to save our files, to open the folders, or to create new files that we might need for this project. We'll also use terminals at some stage to run some of the commands in case we do need to install some libraries. And then when you hover there using your cursor, it tells you where you are. You have the Explorer. It will show you all of your files that are currently in for this project. If you have a lot, then you can use the search, and then you have your source control, and then you also have your run and debug, and then lastly you have your extensions. Talking about the extension, because we are going to use Python, let's just start by installing some of the extensions that we will need. On the top bar, you can see that you have your search extension there. So what you need to do is to hit inside and then search all the extensions that you'll need. So you can see you also have Jupyter that we don't need. Anaconda, if you don't have enough space, is just my preference, but it is okay if you have enough space. So the first one that we need, it is called Python. So we need the Python extension because it will provide us with IntelliSense. So your IntelliSense, it is a smart assistant in your programming that can predict what you're supposed to put at the end in order to complete your code. It saves you time because it does code completion, and sometimes it can guide you as well on what you need to put in case you do forget. And then we can also use these to do or to check our code if it has quality. It's not mainly on just coding. We need to ensure that what we are writing, it is of quality. And then we can use these to debug as well, and also to navigate through our code. So the good thing with the Python extension is that it can also integrate with Jupyter Notebook directly from VS Code. So you can see mine there, but if it's not showing, you can just type Python, and then you hit send. You want this one that doesn't have another name. It's from Microsoft. You can just click install and then just give it a second. It needs to show there that it is installed. So when we switch to Jupyter Notebook, I'll show you guys how to install that extension. You can also search online on the different types of extensions that you can use, so it can make your life a little bit easier. Okay, now we are fine. We have it. The one that we want as well is it's called Python doc string generator. So it's this one. It's a little bit green. So this guy will help us to automatically generate docstring for our Python functions and classes, which can help us improve code documentation and readability. So you don't have to worry about it now, but let's just install it so that we can use it a little bit later on. And lastly, again, the extension, this is based on you. You can install as much as you want. As we go, we will have more of them. So lastly, the one that I want to install is called bracket pair colonizer. Called bracket pair colorizer. So it does what it says. It will just match, give a color to the matching brackets, which makes it easy for navigation. You will see it as we go. So I'll just click this one. I'm a little bit concerned there because it says, but hey, it's fine. Let's just install it. Let's find another one. Okay, we can go with this one, bracket pair color. That's okay, because that one, it seems like it's reaching its lifespan. So that's fine. I'm happy with the extensions that we have. So if you want to remove this, you can just click it in order to hide it, or you can just put it back as you want. So okay, we have that one. So as you know that in programming, the very first application that you will write, it is called hello world. But because now we are from Ctrl+Alt+Teach, we are going to modify our first application. It will be called hello Ctrl+Alt+Teach crew, because I believe you guys, you are part of this family now. So let's just see how can we run our first application using VS Code. So what I want you to do, preferably, this is good practice, you're going to create a folder where you are going to store your project. It is easy for navigation and it is easy for storing your project, so that whenever you want to go back, you can just go and get them. So you'll click on File Explorer. Okay. So once everything is set up, what I need you to do is to go to your File Explorer. You will be able to create a folder where you are going to store your projects. So I'll go to my desktop, then I'll right click on an empty space, then I'll just say new folder. I will call mine Control Alt Teach for our channel, and then project. Let's call it projects. Then if you double click, you'll see that inside we don't have any project or a script yet. So inside, let's just say first project. Okay, then you'll minimize, go to your Visual Studio Code. You want to click your file so we can navigate to the folder that we want to store our scripts. And then you'll go to say open folder. So mine is stored inside of desktop. I'll double click that, and then I'll just leave this because that's the one that I want. And then I'll say select folder. So now what you notice is that Visual Studio is asking, do you trust this folder? So to ensure that you don't have to do this over and over, just tick the box, and then you say yes, I trust the author. And then this welcome, you can just close it. And then you'll notice that now there is a new section that has popped up. This is the folder that you just created so that you can be able to see all the files that you will have. And then when you click that, it collapses it, and then you can see, and then you have files here. If you want to add a new file, you're going to do that. And this file that you're going to add, it will be inside of the first folder. And then you also have a new folder which you'll create. It will be a subfolder for your first project. And then you can refresh, and then also you can collapse all folders into your Explorer. So far so good. So enough about the theory. Let's just create our first project. So what I want you to do is that here you can see there is file. When you hover there, the page with the plus sign there, you can see it says new file, or you can go there and say new file. It's up to you. You can see there is a shortcut, Ctrl+Alt, Windows N. I prefer this. You can just click new file. And then let's call this, let's give it a name. We can say first underscore script. So all the codes that we write in Python, they are called scripts. So I'm putting an underscore there because it's a good practice to separate a long name. And then I'm maintaining all small letters. I know for people who have done other programming languages, they will be crying about the naming convention, but here in Python it's a little bit different. If you prefer that, you can go ahead, but this is how I'm going to proceed going forward. And now, so in order to specify that you are creating a Python file, you have to tell it the extension so that when you execute, it knows that it's running a script. With other programming languages like Java, it will have an extension of .java, for C#, .cs, and so on. For Python, you just need to put a .py. And then you'll notice that now there is an icon that pops up there, a blue Python, which it was not there. So the compiler knows that we are creating a Python script. After that, you can just press enter. Let me just zoom in so we can have, I hope that's fine. So we have the name of our project there at the top. When you hover it, it points you to the directory of your project, and then you also have it there. And then we have all of our lines, all the statements will be numbered for us so that it will be easy for us to go and retrace whenever we debug. So let's just sprint our first application. So it's easy with Python. All you need to do is just write the keyword that is called print. So you notice that the moment you type, it pops up. You can just hit tab, or you can just select it with your cursor. It will be fine. And then print, it is considered as a method. We'll talk about that when we go, but for now you don't have to concern yourself. So a method must be followed with a pair of open bracket and a close bracket or round brackets. So inside, because we want to print just a message that just say hello Ctrl+Alt+Teach crew, just to welcome you guys, we use what we call literal string. It goes inside of quotations. It could be a single quote, it could be double quotes. I prefer to use double quotes. So you just put your double quotes. So this, it's called a literal string, meaning that whatever you write inside of the quotes, that is what is going to appear to the user when they execute. So again, let me just welcome you guys. We'll just say hello Ctrl+Alt+Teach crew. That's it. So for those who have experience with other programming languages, we were taught that at the end of your statement, you must close it. The good thing with Python is that it doesn't need you to close it. That is the beauty of Python. We don't need to close a statement. If you close it, it won't run. So now that we have written our first statement, in order to see its content, you can go up there on the play button. You can just press it, and then you'll see that there is a pop-up message that comes out. I'm gonna zoom in a bit so it is fine on your screen. Okay, so you can see that this is a message that I printed, which is called hello Ctrl+Alt+Teach crew. So with that one said, well done, you have created your first Python script. This will be the first to many that has to come. So, but we're not going to stop there. We are going to ensure that we type in a little bit. So I'm just going to give you a snippet of how we will proceed with our Python sessions. So for now, I'm gonna do one last application for today. I feel like I've bombarded you guys with theory, so we'll just continue again. If you don't understand what I'm about to do now, it's okay. It's just the first session. This session was more of installing the tools that we will need in order to continue with our session. So I will continue as we go up to explain all of the contents that we will be doing. So what I want now to do is to, since we are welcoming you guys, we'll just make it interesting that it prints your name and then it welcome you. So what I'm going to do, I'll just click there at the top so that I can print there. So what I want to do now is to write a script that will ask for your name, and then it's going to give you a personalized welcome to this series instead of hello Ctrl+Alt+Teach crew. So we just want to personalize this. So in order to do that, if we ask the user to supply information or data to interact with our application, it needs to be stored somewhere. And that storage, we refer to them as variables. We'll talk about them as we go with the next lesson. So I just want you guys to remember that in programming, whenever you ask or you prompt the user, it needs to be stored somewhere. So the good thing, again, we don't need data types for those who are comfortable. But again, if you are new, you don't know what is data types, we'll talk about that. For now, I'll just write name. This name will be used to accept the name that you are going to type so that you can get your own personalized welcome message. And then you'll put an equal sign, which is referred to an assignment operator in programming. So unlike maths where you say it is equal to, here we're saying whatever you have on the right side where the cursor is blinking must be assigned back to this container, which is our variable. So because I want to ask the user to supply a value, I'll write a keyword that is called input. So your input, what it does behind the scene, it says, okay, now I'm waiting. I'm going to allow you to type something, and then whenever you type something, I'll take it, store it into this container. So this is just a keyword, but we still need to ask the user, which is where we're going back to the literal string. So I'll put my double quotes and I will ask you a question. What is your name? And then with this name, the user will just see what is inside of these quotes because it's a literal string again. And then after that, it will just say, okay, hello. Now we don't need that. So we'll just need to print out. So let me just delete this for now, and then we can just say, so I'll put F. We'll talk about F. This is just to format our strings. We'll talk about that, don't worry. Hello. So now I'll need your name. I'll put curly braces so I can pass in a name. This is more of a little bit of advanced. We will use string concatenation. We'll talk about that, where you can combine two strings using a plus sign. But again, it's just to show you guys what we will be doing inside of this series. So say welcome to Control Alt Teach. So I'm just welcoming you now. So once I'm done with this, I can just hit run. Let me take it up there. You can see now it says what is your name, and there is a box there. That is where the input comes in. So when I click there, now I can type and say my name is Junior. Then I'll just press enter, and then it says hello Junior, welcome to Control Alt. So that it is Python for you, and how easy it is, especially those who are coming from other programming languages. You'll find it easier compared to the lot of rules that exist for your C Sharp, your Java, your C++, and so on. So okay guys, that's it for today's introduction. So what we've done, just to recap, we've set up Python. We checked if our machine has Python, and then if it didn't have it, I'll show you guys how to install it. And then we talked about two environment that we will use. One it's Visual Studio Code. The other one it's Notebook Jupyter, or Jupyter Notebook, where we installed Python, but we didn't do the setup for Python. We will do that as we go. And then we dive into the basics of creating a hello, an equivalent of a hello world project. And then I also expanded on that using variables, inputs, formatting strings that we are yet to cover as we go. So please don't forget, add Control Alt Teach. We learn by doing. And then until next time, just keep practicing. You'll get better at this.